All right, I'm just gonna say she's a traitor. So she should definitely, pay for the consequences.
Fucking enjoy China, okay? Enjoy China. Goodbye. We don't care. We don't want you.
America was great to her. She sold out to China.
You mad? Look at you. You big mad.
Welcome back, guys. So a world-class athlete born and raised in America decides to compete for the country of her mother's birth. And the American media and political establishment absolutely loses its mind. Why? Because that country is China. Today we're diving deep into the hypocritical, xenophobic, and frankly, pathetic outrage over Eileen Gu. Let's get into it.
Thank you for having me, Laura. I'm just gonna say she's a traitor. She was born in America, she raised in America, lives in America, and choose to compete against her own country for literally the worst human rights, abuser on the planet, China. She built her fame in a free country and then choose to represent an authoritarian regime, which, while chasing endorsement deals, linked by watching dog groups and mass detention and forced labor camps, she chose to play for a country literally responsible for the deaths of tens of millions of his own people and literally running a concentration camp while we are talking. And instead of the country where she was born and given the opportunity. So you don't just get to enjoy freedom of US as citizenship while acting literally a global PR asset for the Chinese Communist Party. So she should definitely, pay for the consequences.
Pardon me, young man, excuse the shit out of my goddamn French, but did you just threaten me?
This is Enes Kanter, a Swiss-born Turkish former NBA player turned activist, calling a 22-year-old woman a traitor for skiing. And he ends with, she could definitely pay for the consequences. What does that even mean? Is he threatening her? But here's a real hypocrisy. Kanter is lecturing America about human rights while representing a country with nearly 2 million people incarcerated at any given time. The United States has an incarceration rate of 580 per 100,000 residents, higher than any other developed democracy. And it gets worse. ICE has detained over 170 American citizens without proper legal process, denying them medical care and basic necessities. But sure, Eileen Gu is the real problem here. You see, while Kanter is shilling for a country that has spent the last 2 decades bombing people who look just like him across the Middle East, the United States has been involved in military conflicts in at least 7 countries in the Middle East and North Africa since 2001. The irony is so thick, you could cut it with a drone strike. And the worst human rights abuser on the planet? Really? That's a bold claim coming from a citizen of a country with its own well-documented issues, from the prison industrial complex to systemic racism. So let's be clear. Kanter's outrage about human rights abuses is selective at best. He gets to build his entire brand criticizing China while ignoring the systemic violence his own country commits. But when a 22-year-old woman makes a career decision, suddenly she's a traitor? Give me a break.
Leads me to Eileen Gu. Eileen Gu was born in America to, I think, an American father and a Chinese mother. And she was raised here. She went to Stanford. She had this privileged upbringing in San Francisco. All the gifts, becomes this world-class skier. And then, because she got a big fat check from China, she claims it was to inspire young Chinese athletes. She decided to skate in the Olympics under the Chinese flag. So she gets all the advantages of being an American. She gets all the support from her fellow Americans. She takes an education at an American university, and one of our most prestigious. And then she flies the coop to go compete for China, where she reportedly got a check. Okay, so that's Eileen Gu's values.
Megyn. This salty bitch is so mad that a talented, intelligent, and successful woman is making her own choices. Let's break down this little tantrum. First, the hypocrisy. Megyn seems to have a problem with American-born athletes competing for other countries. But what about these folks at the 2026 Winter Olympics, huh? Where's the outrage for them? Oh, right, they're not competing for China. And they're not all women of Asian descent either. Interesting.
And Eileen Gu was the heavy favorite to win a couple of golds this week. She did win gold earlier in the Olympics, but instead she took silver. She couldn't quite get it done.
Megyn's segment aired before Eileen won her gold medal in the halfpipe. But guess what? Eileen came back and absolutely dominated, winning gold and proving all the haters wrong. She now has 6 career Olympic medals, making her the single most decorated freestyle skier in Olympic history, man or woman. So you see, Megyn, I'm sure China is very pleased. I'm sure they are.
And someone asked her about it, and you tell me whether this is a likable person. Here she is.
Do you see these as 2 silvers gained or 2 golds lost?
I'm the most decorated female free skier in history. I think that's an answer in and of itself. How do I say this? Winning a medal at the Olympics is a life-changing experience for every athlete. Doing it 5 times is exponentially harder because every medal is equally hard for me, but everybody else's expectations rise, right? And so the 2 medals lost situation, to be quite frank with you, I think is kind of a ridiculous perspective to take. I'm showcasing my best skiing. I'm doing things that quite literally have never been done before. And so I think that is more than good enough. But thank you.
Oh my God, she's stomach turning. The self-aggrandizing, self-flattery, the sneering, I'm the best. You will love me.
Stomach turning? Really? You know what's stomach turning? A grown-ass woman tearing down a 22-year-old athlete for being confident. Eileen handled that reporter's loaded question with grace and facts. She is the most decorated female free skier in history. That's not arrogance, it's a fact. And who's more cocky than Americans? Can you tell me? Their presidents literally stand on stage and declare America the greatest country on earth.
Fucking enjoy China, okay? Enjoy China. Goodbye. We don't care. We don't want you.
Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Shut up.
I'm so glad you're enjoying your silver. By the way, I don't think China is going to be happy with that. Hate to break it to you. They're kind of like really prone to demands for excellence. Here's the stats on her. She's the highest paid Winter Olympic athlete in the world, making an estimated $23 million in 2025 alone, amid partnerships with Chinese companies, including the Bank of China and some Western companies.
And the money argument, please. Your president, Donald Taco Trump, has been embroiled in crypto scams and other financial scandals for years. His administration is a revolving door of grifters and con artists. But Eileen Gu making a smart financial decision for her career? That's where we draw the line?
She's never spoken out publicly against China's alleged human rights abuses, of course, because they won't allow that.
Why would she speak out against something that doesn't exist? But here's the thing, Megyn. Where the fuck is your outrage about US human rights abuses? Where's your outrage segment on ICE agents beating the shit out of American citizens? Where's your investigation into the fact that America has nearly 2 million people in prison, more than any other country on earth? Where's your moral crusade against America funding and supporting Israel's genocide in Gaza? I don't see Megyn Kelly doing any of that. I don't see her risking her career or a platform to speak out against her own government's atrocities. Megyn, you don't get to demand moral purity from Eileen when you're complicit in your own country's crimes.
I just got back from the Winter Olympics. Yes, I was competing in the tiramisu division, but I just want to say I think it's very telling the difference in reaction that people have had to Mondo Duplantis, who represented Sweden in the Summer Olympics in pole vaulting, and Eileen Gu, representing China in freestyle skiing. Both are athletes at the top of their game, born and raised in the US and representing the country where their mother is from. The difference is I haven't seen any negativity surrounding Mondo representing Sweden. If anything, I've seen nothing but positivity and excitement for him that he gets $100,000 every time he beats his own record by a single centimeter. The negativity towards Eileen Gu doing the exact same thing for China is absolutely xenophobic, misogynistic, and just seething with jealousy. Clearly for both athletes, it's been objectively the pragmatic, correct decision for their career to represent the other country, and both China and Sweden just support their athletes financially in a way that the US does not do. And I've seen some people try to get smart with it, saying, oh, but she's getting special treatment, China doesn't allow dual citizenship. First of all, it's none of our business what she did with her American passport. Second of all, why shouldn't she get special treatment? She's a special person with a special talent in a special circumstance. It warrants special treatment. The high horse that some people are on about Eileen representing China, well, I would still represent the US, as if you would even be in the Olympics.
This guy nails it. It's not about patriotism. It's about racism, sexism, and good old-fashioned jealousy. He points out that Mondo Duplantis, an American-born vaulter competing for Sweden, is celebrated as a hero. Why the double standard? Because Eileen Gu is a woman, she's of Chinese descent, and she's unapologetically successful.
You said you didn't talk politics, you didn't talk policy, you did talk investment. Here's the great question for me, and Mr. Soros has an open invitation to come spend an hour with me here on the Woken Show, or his son for that matter, because I just want to understand the vision. What is the vision of George Soros for this world?
Again, many people have asked me that. I don't understand. Country's been very good to him. It was just like this young Olympic athlete that the vice president was talking about earlier on the previous show. America was great to her. She sold out to China. That America was great to Mr. Soros. He has a very different vision, and it's mercifully, it is one that the American people don't share.
Darling, are you feeling mad? Yeah. Are you feeling kind of sad too? Yeah. You're.
And now we have Scott Bessent, Trump's Treasury Secretary. Are they really putting Eileen Gu and George Soros in the same conversation? I mean, you can't make this stuff up. And he's not the only one getting on Eileen's case. Vice President JD Vance also had to chime in, saying he'd hope athletes who grew up in America would compete for America. It's this kind of narrow-minded nationalism that's so sickening. Look at Lang Ping, the legendary Chinese volleyball coach. She coached the US team to a silver medal at the 2008 Beijing Olympics, even defeating China along the way. Some Chinese fans called her a traitor then, but now she's a national hero in China. They moved on. America, it seems, can't. And it's not just sports. Silicon Valley was literally built on Chinese talent. Chinese and Indian computer scientists and engineers were running 1/4 of Silicon Valley's high-tech firms by 1998. Over 40% of successful high-tech startups in the region were established by highly skilled Asian Americans and Asian immigrants. Today, Chinese engineers and AI talent are considered some of the most valuable in the United States tech industry. China graduates 1.3 million engineers per year versus 130,000 in the United States, a 10-to-1 gap. So America is perfectly happy to poach Chinese talent, benefit from Chinese innovation, and build their tech empire on the backs of Chinese engineers. But the moment a Chinese-American athlete decides to represent China, suddenly she's a traitor.
I definitely do really care about what our country is doing, and I think it is really important also to notice like the faults in our own government. Very, very similar to my dad. Like, yeah, things are a little rough in our countries, but I think every government has its issues. There's so many protests that are going on, and I've attended, and it's, I mean, coming from a family of immigrants, like, I think immigrants deserve rights. I think it's a little silly, especially in America.
Now we have Alysa Liu, the one the MAGA crowd is cheering for, a Chinese-American skater who does compete for America. And she's here articulating views that would make the MAGA crowd's head explode. She's critical of her own government and supports immigrant rights. Now, you might think the MAGA crowd is cheering for Alysa because she represents America, right? Wrong. They're not actually cheering for her. They're just using her as a weapon against Eileen and China. The moment these guys realize that Alysa is saying things that they disagree with is the moment she doesn't fall in line with their nationalist agenda. They'll turn on her just as fast, Because for them, it's not about which flag you wear. It's about whether you fit into their narrow, racist, and xenophobic vision of what an American should be. And spoiler alert, being a successful Asian American woman who speaks her mind doesn't fit that vision, no matter which country you're competing for. So, there you have it. The outrage over Eileen Gu has nothing to do with patriotism and everything to do with hypocrisy, racism, and a deep-seated insecurity about a rising China. They can't stand to see a strong, successful woman of Chinese descent thrive on her own terms. So they call her a traitor. What do you guys think? Is this just a sad display of American hypocrisy? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss our next breakdown of media hypocrisy. Thanks for watching, guys. And until next time, bye.